Hello, this is Alex Kaptanakis with Atlas Vault, and I wanted to talk to you on this video about the similarities that we have with our clients' interests when they come to this country in Panama and they seek to protect their wealth and they seek to invest and they seek to find a way to have a plan B with their lives. And part of that is finding the right people to get you involved in real estate. And that's why we're associated with this in the sense of information. So I wanted to introduce to you Panama Sovereign. And I've got Ted Tennis and Jonathan Clay. And I'd like them to talk to you about what they do and how the interests of their clients here in Panama coincide with our interests and our clients. So let's get to it. First of all, I wanted to talk to you about the name of Panama Sovereign. Can you tell us about how you guys came up with that name and how it involves the client philosophy that you have?
Absolutely, and thanks for having us with you today, Alex. Appreciate that. So Panama Sovereign Realty is a real estate agency based in Panama. We've been around for about 5 years. And the name Panama Sovereign derives after a lot of back and forth between us about what we wanted this company's sort of theme to be. It really came down to our own personal philosophy, Jonathan and myself, of independence, of wanting to chart our own path. And after doing real estate as long as we have in the country, much longer than the age of the company, we really both feel that the investors that come to Panama, the folks that want to move here or own property here, they share that in common with us. They're independent spirits. They want to have something of their own. And in many cases, they're leaving places where they feel that perhaps things aren't as free, things aren't as independent as they used to be in their own countries.
Is it? You guys had similar philosophies. We've talked about our philosophies and why we ended up in Panama. What are some of those feelings of independence that you think we can get here in Panama that make Panama unique to other places in terms of finding that sense of freedom here?
Panama is unique, especially in the region. It's a regional beacon for stability. The macros are great in Panama. Economy, it's got a vibrant economy, a vibrant civil society. It's a welcoming society. It's safe. Safety is key. Safety is paramount. And it's also well located. So people who are coming from Canada or the United States or also South America and to a lesser degree, but also Europe, it's close. You know, if you're a U.S. citizen and you want to move or relocate to Panama, yet you still have ties to the U.S. or Canada, you can travel easily back and see family, and so that's a big advantage that Panama also has. It's well positioned. It's a strategic location.
Here, from my point of view at Atlas, I find that the tax situation and the sense of freedom of laissez-faire behavior towards business is very important to my clients when they come, because they come from places that have become very intrusive, like in Europe, where they want to know everything. They want to know to the last dollar that you're spending. Do you find your clients have those same concerns that our clients have?
Yeah, they do for sure. Panama has tax advantages, especially for European citizens, in that foreign income is not taxed in Panama. If you're a United States citizen, of course, our tax system is a world tax system.
We belong to them.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where we are. Yeah. We still earn, and we have to report everything to the U.S. government, to the IRS, and that's fine. But other jurisdictions don't have those same sort of tax requirements, tax laws. So for individuals from those jurisdictions, Panama is especially excellent in terms of their tax structuring.
Well, I was asking you before. I think we need to touch on this. What is the biggest concern that a person coming from the U.S. or Canada should have when he's looking for, he or she is looking for an agent to help them with real estate? What are the things that they should ask, and what are the warning signs that you would give them?
Okay, well, it's a big question, but I think I can summarize it by saying if you're coming into any jurisdiction, whether it be a town in your own country, whether it be a foreign country, the first thing you're looking for is someone with a track record. In Panama, believe it or not, there's a lot of people selling real estate that aren't even licensed. So an easy way to weed out people and get to people that know what they're doing, or at least have that minimal barrier to entry, would be to ask the person you're dealing with, do you have a personal real estate license? So
Does that happen a lot?
It happens more than we wish, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that would be one thing. Obviously, if we're talking top of the funnel from someone coming in with zero knowledge, then there's so much to learn. You really want to have someone who is going to take the time to educate you, okay? Because the real estate laws are very similar to probably many of the countries folks are coming from, but they're not identical.
Right.
The tax structures are similar, not identical. For a lot of our clients, residency, establishing permanent residency in Panama is part of what they're looking to part of their strategy.
Okay.
And there's a lot of permutations to that. And I've been here 16 years. The property tax laws have changed 4 times since I got here. Mm-hmm. The residency requirements change regularly. So it's not hey, I saw this online, that must be the way it is. You really need someone that can provide you with up-to-the-minute info.
That's a great point. And I know that a lot of people don't realize, and you can correct me on this, that when you're buying, depending on the building and the age of the building, you're buying into possibly a tax-free situation for a few years, or you're buying into a tax situation. Can you explain that one, either of you?
I can take that. Yeah. So you know, again, we're talking about. We should clarify what we're talking about because there's a lot of different taxes. So we're talking about property tax.
Property taxes.
Yeah, as opposed to a goods and services tax, an income tax on what your rent.
I remember when I first discovered about property taxes here, being from the U.S., and I'm used to huge amounts of property tax.
Yeah.
And over here they complain a lot, but it's not very high. But even still, when you're buying, so you can explain what is the difference between the age of the building and why is that important?
Well, it's very important because essentially in 2019, January 1st, they did away with the long-term tax exoneration. So what you're referring to is up until then, for many years, depending upon the value of the building, okay, and I won't get too far down in the weeds on this. The point is that the tax rate was actually higher than it is now. They were charging, in most cases, 2.1% annualized tax on the value of the property. But what they were offering people is on the construction. So you might have land with a home on it, so they're going to tax those separately. The land has value, that gets taxed. But on the improvement value, the construction value, then they would offer you, depending upon what range that was in, between 5 and 20 years of tax-free status.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have taken advantage of that, and there are many properties that we still sell to this day that fall into that.
The older buildings.
Absolutely, and older houses, older buildings, and those are grandfathered in. They still have that.
Yeah, until 2039, we're going to see those.
Oh, really?
Yeah, until 20 years from that date, some people will still have that. But that doesn't mean that you necessarily are saying, well, if I can't get that, I don't want it. Because at the same time they did away with new tax exonerations for that period, what they did was they dramatically lowered the tax rate. So now the tax rate is between 0.5 and 1% annually, depending upon what it is.
Yeah, I think by comparisons to the U.S. and Europe, the taxes are quite low here. Very reasonable.
Absolutely. And insurance is cheap here too.
Yeah.
Right. You know, property insurance is cheap, both the liability and personal injury and the, you know, content and building insurance. It's all much less typically than what people are used to, whether they're coming from North America, Europe, or wherever they're coming from. So the cost of ownership here is actually really attractive to people. It's one of the reasons why the ROI propositions become a little bit, you know, better. It's a reason why people who are, you know, retiring maybe on a fixed income decide that Panama is a good option.
Now, what are the areas of Panama real estate that you find interesting that are like considered to be the up and coming or the really hot properties that big money is searching for right now?
Well, I mean, yeah, there's a number of different areas, geographical areas throughout Panama. Panama City, of course, and within Panama City, you have specific neighborhoods that are very attractive. For example, you have Costa del Este and Santa Maria, which are two areas right on the edge of Panama City, the downtown area, right? We're about 10 minutes from either of those areas. Very attractive for investment. Costa del Este is a bit older than Santa Maria. Santa Maria is a master planned residential community more geared towards retirees.
That looks a lot like a Miami area, doesn't it?
Sure, and it's built around an 18-hole, beautiful Jack Nicklaus golf course, and it's a very in-demand area of Panama City real estate right now. Also, you know, other neighborhoods in Panama City are going to be Ocean Reef Islands, which are the artificial islands that were built right off of the coast of Panama City. If you look at a Google Earth or something, you see a little sort of like Dubai-esque.
The Punta Pacifica.
Exactly, right off of Punta Pacifica. And Punta Pacifica, again, another in-demand area. So the central areas of the city, and then moving outside of the city, of course, there are areas that are in high demand. For example, the beaches from about an hour to an hour and a half outside of the city. It's called the Gold Coast. Has a number of attractive communities that are all in growth phases, developing more amenities, more services, more people, more things are happening. There's an international airport out there right now, which right now doesn't receive too many flights. I think flights coming from Canada primarily into that international airport. And then moving further west, you have areas like Petasi, which is an area that Ted and I know very well. We both started our real estate careers in Petasi, which is a beautiful beach community about 5 hours drive from Panama City on the Pacific coast. 5 hours might sound like a long time, and sure it is, but we've also got flights direct from Panama City, I think daily now, correct?
Every day but Saturday right now.
Every day but Saturday. So 30 minutes from Panama City, you can be in Petasi.
And that's where you guys also have your offices.
Yeah, we have another office in Petasi, right on Main Street in Petasi. And Petasi is great. I mean, the weather is excellent. It's in what's considered the dry arc of Panama. So it's an area of Panama which receives less rainfall overall than other areas. For example, the Caribbean coast of Panama, which receives tremendous amounts of rainfall. It's a different environment, and we have a really pronounced dry season from January to May, during which we'll maybe get 1 or 2 sprinkles of rain. Otherwise, it's dry.
Would you say that the majority of people coming to buy real estate are American expats, or would you say that it's all over the world?
It's definitely all over the world. Yeah. With that said, it's interesting what happened. And I've been here, like I said, 16 years. So when I first moved to Panama, we were seeing a lot of Canadians in the market. We were seeing a lot of Europeans in the market, and there still are large percentages of that. But in 2014, if people can remember this, the US dollar almost overnight strengthened incredibly against the euro and against the Canadian dollar and against some other currencies. Really, the shekel and the Swiss franc were left out of that, but the US dollar suddenly became so strong that I noticed in the market there was a downturn in the amount of Europeans and Canadians, because what had been X was now X plus 20%, X plus 30%. And especially when you're talking about people working on a fixed income, it's not just, hey, how much am I paying for this house? It's, okay, now I live here and I'm earning money back home and I'm spending it in US dollars, and that conversion can affect that.
Okay.
Right? So
I noticed that there are there's like pockets, like the areas like in Chiriquí, the northern Panama. There's, I think, a lot more Americans than other groups. Would you agree with that, or?
I think definitely the beach communities like Petasi, like the Gold Coast, some of the mountain communities, for example, further from Panama City, tend to attract non-Panamanian buyers more so than clearly the places that are closer to the city, and that makes sense. If you're going to have a beach house, but your life is based in Panama City, you don't necessarily want to have to drive 5 hours to get to your beach house every weekend. You're looking for a spot you can get to a little easier. We are seeing more Panamanian buyers in those areas with the flights, because now it makes more sense. Hey, now I can get on a plane and be there, and be on the beach an hour from my house. So that's going to change things, the infrastructure improvements. But certainly when you're comparing US buyers, American buyers, to European and Canadian buyers, I think definitely the US buyer would be the largest share of that interior of Panama expat buyer. I would argue in Panama City, and you run our Panama City office, Jonathan, you should speak to this, but how do you see the demographics here? I would say South American buyers.
I would say South American is probably predominates in Panama City, Colombian, Venezuelan.
I know for a long time, for a few years, Venezuelans were very predominant here.
Yeah, I think that's still the case. If you
It's
look
still
at
a large
the
market.
immigration statistics, I mean, the number of visas that are granted to Colombians and Venezuelans far outnumber those granted from the U.S. or Canada.
That leads to an interesting point is, what do they ask the clients ask you about getting a residency, and how residency is assisted by buying an apartment or a piece of property?
Yeah, certainly. There are certain residency pathways that a real estate purchase will qualify for. For example, there are three main visas that our clients tend to opt for. Those are the retirees visa, the friendly nations visa, and the qualified investor visa. All of those visas have a financial component, right? On the one hand, the retirees visa, applicants have to demonstrate a minimum $1,000 a month permanent guaranteed lifetime income. So it could be from a pension, for example. They have to prove that, and that qualifies them for the retirees visa. It's not an age-based visa. You don't have to be 55 or 65. You could be 18 years old. And as long as you have that minimum guaranteed lifetime income, you can apply for the retirees visa. The next is going to be the friendly nations visa, which has a real estate investment minimum of $200,000, right? So if you come into Panama,
Did that go down? Was it always 200?
It went up, actually.
Went up.
The friendly nations visa used to have a financial requirement of only showing a bank balance, a one-day bank balance of $5,000, right? You went to the immigration office, submitted your application, and you showed that you had $5,000 in your bank account, and boom, that qualified you.
Okay.
Then I think it was 2019, they upped that to a $200,000 investment into real estate. So it went up. Okay. And then the third is the qualified investor visa. The qualified investor visa also has a real estate investment component. Also, you can invest in time deposit in a Panamanian bank or into the stock market, but the minimum threshold investment for their qualified investor is $300,000 in Panamanian real estate, okay? And that would qualify you for the qualified investor visa. So real estate comes into play for two of the three most popular.
And it's very easy to spend $300,000 on an apartment here.
Sure it is. Plenty of opportunities, and we're happy to help.
Yeah, we'd certainly like you to spend more.
But it's important to note that there's a lot of opportunity to spend your money, and there's a lot of opportunity to spend your money wisely, and that's an important distinction. You can come spend $300,000 on a condominium in Panama City, and it could be the worst investment of your life. It could be a nightmare.
Very good point.
You could come and spend $300,000 on a condominium in Panama City, and it could be the best investment of your life. And there's.
I have noticed that there are some, because I've had my own clients talk to us about some pressure that they get from realtors or agents that will show them like any buildings, and then when they discover the buildings, they come back with a really bad feeling about it because they can even see it when they go. And they've said that the agents just want to push this one particular building or two or three of these because they're friends with some of the developers. And I think, is that something that you find as a problem, and do you warn people about that?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, there are dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of developers in Panama City alone, right? If not hundreds. And there are hundreds and hundreds of projects, and there's so much to look at. There's so many options. Where do you begin? Well, not every developer is created equal. Some are going to be better than others, of course. Some are going to be more experienced. Some are going to be better financed, right? And those are the developers that we want to focus on, right? We have a list of developers. It's not very long. It's probably 10 to 15 developers deep who we feel really fulfill those requirements. Track record, experience, what have they delivered in the past? How happy are the residents? How are these buildings run? How are these buildings maintained? Right? That's incredibly important. And then the rest we can forget about, right? Because it's a risky proposition. It's not to say that the rest are bad. There's plenty of bad buildings and projects out there, but the risk-reward ratio starts to shift a bit when you look at these other projects, right? So and yeah, you certainly find agents and influencers out there who are pushing one project over another for a specific agenda, perhaps. We also at Panama Sovereign pride ourselves. We take great pride in the fact that we're not pushy salespeople. We're not the salesy, used car salesman type of personality. What we will do is we will present you with all of the options available that fit your parameters, that fit your criteria, whether it's a listing that is our listing or whether it's somebody else's listing. Because at the end of the day, this is a huge financial decision that an individual is making, far greater than a little bit of commission that we stand to make on the transaction, right? And so we want to treat it that way. We want to honor that. And the way we do that is we provide awareness of the alternatives and all of the options. And then the client decides what is best for them, what they like. And we help to guide them on that process, right? So you'll certainly find high pressure sales environments in Panama real estate, and it's not to say that licensed agents are not guilty of this also, because there's plenty of licensed agents out there who are guilty of that perhaps as well, but not us. That's not how we operate.
Okay, well, that's one of the things that, like, again, being in this business here at Atlas, the clients that come in, they're looking for not just a place to keep their gold and wealth, but they also they need a place to stay, and they're interested. And sometimes they're looking for the higher end of the real estate market. What would you say was the top end areas to look for here in Panama City?
The high end in Panama City are going to be
like the really luxurious market.
Really luxurious market's going to be found in Santa Maria, which is the newest development in Panama, in the Panama City metro area. It's about 10 minutes outside of the city. Costa del Este also. In those two areas, you find very high-end luxurious real estate. Also Ocean Reef, which is right off.
Would you say Ocean Reef is higher than the other ones, or?
Yeah, per square meter pricing, yes, higher. You're going to be finding per square meter pricing in Santa Maria roughly today. So 2025, June, whatever it is, June 3rd. July 2nd. What is the date today?
July 2nd, yeah.
Santa Maria, you're going to be looking maybe roughly 5,000, 6,000 per square meter at the higher end. Costa del Este also between 3,500, 4,000. Of course, you can get up into that 4,500, 5,000. Ocean Reef, you're going to be looking at 6,000, 7,000, potentially 8,000 per square meter for real estate.
And that's a place that has like its own docks and.
Yeah, it has a marina. It's got its own amenity.
It's a self-sustaining island.
Self-contained, yeah. And they're putting in more amenities like grocery stores and specialty shops, so that it's going to be even more sort of autonomous.
Okay.
More sovereign.
And that's the issue. Yeah, that's really the key and the common denominator of the people that the clients that we share in terms of interest. So is there something that you think that people should ask and before they come, or a point that you would like to make to close off?
I would say if you're thinking about investing in Panamanian real estate, my biggest piece of advice, Alex, would be take your time. Don't get excited from wherever you are in the world looking online at all these wonderful videos and projects, and hopefully you're looking on our website at these things and seeing this amazing opportunity. You know, don't get so excited about just one option, because you really won't know where your heart and your mind are going to take you until you're here and have the opportunity to see it for yourself. So my main piece of advice personally would be, don't forget the forest for one tree.
Take your time.
Take your time, explore your options, and then you'll make the best decision.
Okay. And I just wanted to say that with regard to having the ability to ask these questions, it's part of Atlas's intent to always help the clients that come from other countries and are curious to know what they do to find the right people on a team. And that's why we're presenting this company and these gentlemen, because these are people that know their stuff here, and they reflect really well on us, and hopefully we can reflect well on them. And we thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Alex. Appreciate
It's
it.
been a pleasure.
Same here.